French composer Olivier Messiaen in a prison camp during World War II. And the Nazis set up actually some artistic showcase prisons. So he is actually able to write music. There are only 4 instruments in the camp, or instrumentalists, and they are clarinet and violin and cello and piano. He plays the piano, and he comes up with a deeply Catholic piece, and he's a deeply Catholic composer. The Quartet for the End of Time, that ensemble has become another kind of standard of contemporary music. He uses a bag of tricks, including what he calls scales of limited transposition, which would include the whole tone scale. That much just here as... And even that can tell you something about his rhythms. He likes what he calls non-retrogradable rhythms. And so in that little passage, long, 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 short, long, 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 it's a palindrome. Spells the same way backwards. He also likes Hindu rhythms. He means the Tala from India. Also plain chant, deeply devout Catholic, and that would be, of course, Gregorian chant and any later or other cultural manifestations thereof. And finally, bird song. And you hear many of these traits in one of his few pieces is actually not about Catholicism. Indeed, he has a few that touch on Eastern religion, and this is one of them, the Turangalila Symphony. It's a 10-movement symphony, massive, lots of Wagnerian leitmotifs, and bird song right at the beginning. And this bird song, stylized, you'll hear it on both piccolo and bassoon. And even this, you've just heard a note. Let's call this just one. This is note succession. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 3. And even that kind of juggling is what he does. He actually uses some of the Schoenbergian, shall we say, and it's also Bach, by the way, and also Machaut, retrogrades, inversions, and retrograde inversions, but now he applies it not only to full 12-tone scales, but also partial scales, enriched scales with maybe 15 pitches, with some repeated. He also applies it to rhythm, well, that backwards thing, right? Entrances, as we've seen in Webern. But in some ways, he's a little more thoroughgoing, and he will be an important teacher for the next generation of composers. The Turlanga Symphony, basically a huge love poem. This is the 4th movement, Chant d'amour 2, love song 2. And really, he also emphasized actually, shall we say, the love, the agape, amore, even erotic side of possible Christianity, and was deeply in love with his wife, who was the keyboardist, the Onde Martineau player. This is an early electronic keyboard. Yvonne Laurier, his wife, played the piano. Jeanne Laurier, Yvonne's sister, played the Onde Martineau in a number of his concerts. But she played the Onde Martineau, and it has a traditional keyboard with weird electronic sounds, but it also has a ring on a wire. And so you get these unearthly sounds. Wonderful. And that melody, that's the climax. Bit of a whole tone scale with, shall we say, a little hiccup, a note that's actually out of that. That will be important to George Crumb later. This melody as follows. I'm going to assume kind of an E whole tone tonality. And so I'm going to go like, or altered, synthetic whole tone. Well, there are synthetic scales anyway. But we'll call this Fi, Do, Re, Fi, Do, Re, La. That's the note out. Do, Fi, Re. Nice. Like Scriabin, Messiaen also had synesthesia. He spoke once at my alma mater, Swarthmore College, under the behest of one of his former students, Jerry Levinson, who was one of my teachers, so I'm a second-generation Messiaen student. And he started by saying, he only spoke in French, Jerry translated, and he started by saying, musique et la couleur. And then he went on to talk about birdsong, with his wife, Yvonne Laurier, at the piano.
Et voici le rossignol. Il éclate tout d'un coup, brusquement. La seconde strophe, ce sont des batteries sur deux sons très célèbres. Tico, 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 tico. Ensuite, dans le grave, un timbre mêlé clavecin et gong qui fait tchou, 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 tchou.
And Samuel Barber, another one of these French-fried American composers, child prodigy, French finishing school, writes his first piece at around 6 and goes to the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia, which, nice work if you can get it, is free for talented select few, and does his graduation piece, the overture to the School for Scandal, and it's still in the repertory. Nice sonata allegro style overture. You just heard the Adagio for strings. Here it is. Let's see if I can get in the right way. I did it that time. How about that? This is always backwards. And the Adagio builds up. It was originally the second movement of his only string quartet. He's not a particularly prolific composer. It gets up to about opus 50 and stops, meaning he's no longer with us. But he retranscribed, he enriched it for full strings and builds up to a shining climax. It was used in the movie Platoon, and you saw a video that was evoking that. And that brings us to our feature piece, his second essay for orchestra. He does a couple of symphonies, but these essays are kind of symphonic in their own way. And for my money, the second, the greatest, starting out with, again, kind of Beethovenly, limited resources, just a solo flute, and we're in F minor, and I'm looking over the glasses so I can actually see the music, and maybe we're some sort of a pedagogue going on here. Do, so, do. It's just so and do so far. Do, so, te. So, te, do. A little bit of the blues, maybe. So, do, so, te. So, do. Still just 3 pitches. Then still, so, te, fa. There's a 4th pitch, finally, tetratonic. Oh, and with that first theme. Yeah, those 4 pitches, but a 5th here. Not very helpful. Solo tuba at the beginning. And that solo tuba is on, I think it's spelled as Ra, which is what it is, but like day, like just a raised 1. So mild bitonality, polytonality as it goes on. Yes, so if the first theme kind of has this upward arch, the second theme goes down. First theme in 4/4 time. Second theme 6/8 and has initially kind of this feverish punctuation with staccato flutes underneath. It looks like it's G sharp. Only 4 pitches again. How about that? F sharp minor add 6. It's kind of the root idea there, but sort of a second inversion thing. And so I'm going to call that do. So this would be sol, re, do. Calls it essay because it's kind of ruminating. It doesn't really follow the symphonic structure, but it kind of does, because after returning to the first theme with percussion, nice, he takes that emphasis of that minor third so idea, and he's taking the end of the idea with a minor third, putting in the beginning, and then which is sort of the beginning. Nice! And he turns that into a wonderful counterpoint, and then builds up to a shining chorale theme, and then building up to the climax. The chorale, we're back in F minor. Me, ra, do, a little Phrygian. Me, ra, do, te, do. So, 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 me, fa. Te, 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 do. Me, te, do.
They call it stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad. They call it stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad. Wednesday's worse, and Thursday's also sad. Yeah!
T-Bone Walker, 12 Bar Blues. Hey, Where's the jazz band? We've got a guitar, we got an electric guitar, and the electric guitar was basically amplified to get over the jazz band. So was the string bass. Now we realized we didn't need that giant bass. Instead, we could use an instrument that basically looks like a guitar, but with strings of the string bass. And with the guitar and bass amplified, who needs the horns? You heard just a little bit of a trumpet in there. This is the notion of the jump band. And it's going to turn. This would have been called rhythm and blues, and it's going to turn eventually into rock and roll. So the old becomes new, and the old gets recycled. And here's Bernard Herrmann with his film score to Jason and the Argonauts. And yes, it's the Dies Irae all over again, and Katya.